If you've ever played Mario Kart, then you're probably pretty familiar with the Mushroom Cup. It's the first cup in every game, and usually the easiest one as well. It's designed to introduce the game to the player and just kind of ease them into it. So this may mean the Mushroom Cup is a little more boring than the other ones, but there are still plenty of great Mushroom Cup tracks. And in this video, I'll be ranking every Mario Kart's Mushroom Cup from worst to best. This should be no surprise whatsoever. Super Mario Kart has the worst track selection out of any game, and its Mushroom Cup is no different. Mario Circuit 1, Donut Plains 1, Ghost Valley 1, and Bowser Castle 1 are all simple versions of its track theme and don't really offer any excitement for me. And then you throw Mario Circuit 2 as the last track in the cup, and that just rounds out the mediocrity. These aren't just awful tracks that I hate playing, but they're pretty boring and uninteresting. So this was an easy choice. So even though this is second to last, there's a noticeable bump in quality from Super Mario Kart. For starters, there's not two versions of the same track, but this is actually a solid cup that I enjoy playing. Peach Circuit is a very basic starter course, but it gets the job done. Shy Guy Beach is actually my most underrated track in this game, mostly because I love beach tracks, but the music and vibes are great. Riverside Park is a fun little jungle track. This one was remade in 8 Deluxe and is still a good time in the original. And Bowser Castle 1 is just okay. It's pretty short and forgettable, considering this game has 3 other Bowser Castles that are better. But overall, this isn't a bad Mushroom Cup at all, just not better than the next few. Look, I love Mario Kart 7, but this Mushroom Cup is certainly nothing to write home about. Toad Circuit is by no means a bad starter track, but we've seen much better. Daisy Hills is honestly really solid. It's just kind of forgettable, but the gliding section at the end is fun. I know Cheep Cheep Lagoon always gets hated on, and I'm not saying it's a good course or anything. It's too short and too boring, but there's just something about jumping in the lagoon in the beginning that I enjoy. Again, it's average at best, but I do think it's a little underrated. Shy Guy Bazaar is probably the best track here. The theming, music, and layout makes this a unique choice for a Mushroom Cup, but definitely a welcomed one. It brings this cup up from average to slightly above average, but still, Mario Kart 7's Mushroom Cup is just okay. This has got to be one of the most lopsided cups you will ever see. DS starts out with one of the most boring courses ever in Mario Kart in Figure 8 Circuit. It's wide, it's unnecessarily long, and it's just flat out bad. This is the Mario Kart equivalent of watching paint dry. And even though I love Yoshi, Yoshi Falls is not much better. Now it does have a couple boost pads, a couple waterfalls, and is significantly shorter than Figure 8 Circuit, but it's still not good. But the last 2 tracks is what saves this cup because they're actually pretty good. I already mentioned how much I love beach tracks, and Cheep Cheep Beach is no exception. It's not the best beach course or anything, but I like it a lot and think it's an underrated DS track. Luigi's Mansion though is not underrated because everybody seems to love this course, and deservedly so. You get to drive through Luigi's Mansion from the GameCube game in the backyard while avoiding some trees. To be honest, I do think this is slightly overrated since you only drive through the actual mansion for like 10 seconds and the rest of the time it's mud, but it's still a cool track. Overall, DS's Mushroom Cup was decent, but now we're getting into some good ones. So I was a little surprised to see Mario Kart 8 this low, but I just couldn't put it above the next 3. With that being said, this is a good Mushroom Cup. Mario Kart Stadium is arguably the best starter course, with its satisfying turns and atmosphere, and it welcomes you into the game very well. Water Park is the low light here. I mean, it's a water park I guess, but it's just boring. I thought there would be a water slide or maybe a wave pool or something, but no, you're pretty much just driving through water. Also, how lame of a name is that? Sweet Sweet Canyon is one that I didn't particularly care for at first, but now I can say that it's a solid course for sure. The aesthetics are pretty cool, and it's actually got a little bit of difficulty for a Mushroom Cup track, plus the donut shortcut at the end is pretty neat. Swamp Ruins is no doubt the best track here. It looks fantastic, there's obviously lots of thwomps to avoid, and even a big wheel thing. It really has everything you want in a course, and it rounds out the cup nicely. But yeah, Mario Kart 8's Mushroom Cup is pretty good in my opinion, but these next 3 are even better. I was actually pretty surprised when I made this list to see Mario Kart 64 this high, but I just couldn't bring myself to put it lower. Luigi Raceway is honestly one of the better starter tracks in my opinion. I just like the look and feel of racing on it, and the tunnel is a nice change of scenery. Yes, Moo Moo Farm is essentially just a worse version of Moo Moo Meadows, but I still think it's pretty decent. Sure, the moles can be annoying, but the music and overall hecticness make up for it. Koopa Troopa Beach is actually one of my favorite beach tracks. Its music is fantastic, the vibes couldn't be more chill, and that waterfall shortcut is very satisfying when you pull it off. It's one of the best tracks in the game, honestly. And finally, we have Calamari Desert. By far the best desert track ever. Calamari Desert offers amazing music, great aesthetics, and trains. Need I say more? But yeah, the trains actually provide a little bit of strategy, since there's a lot of moments where you'll have to decide if you think it's worth it to try to beat the train. I always forget how good Mario Kart 64's Mushroom Cup is, because I definitely didn't expect it to be in the top 3, but it deserves it. One thing about Double Dash that has always impressed me is how consistent the tracks are. I can genuinely say that there's not a bad track in this game, and the Mushroom Cup is no exception. This version of Luigi Circuit is probably the best starter track we've ever seen, mostly due to the unique design that allows you to drive right into the other racers going the opposite way. This combined with plenty of boost pads and a couple solid turns makes for a good track. And a great beginning one. Okay, I'm just now realizing how many Mushroom Cups at beach tracks, but hey, I'm not complaining. Peach Beach is not the best one, but it's still a good time. The constantly rising tide makes things a little more interesting, as well as having to avoid the cataquacks from Super Mario Sunshine, or else they'll throw you up in the air. There's also a pipe detour that is actually slower, but always gives you a double item box, and you can even see Daisy Cruiser from the beach. So actually, the more I think about it, the better Peach Beach gets. Okay, so Baby Park. It's probably the most polarizing track ever, with some people absolutely loving it, and some absolutely despising it. I'm actually somewhere in the middle, but closer to loving than hating it. I know it's just an oval, but the special items in this game, the hectic music, and it being 7 laps actually makes it unique and pretty fun. So when I first played Dry Desert, I didn't like it at all, but it's actually kind of growing on me. The Sand Twister and Sand Pit make for some very unique hazards, and I actually like the music as well. Is it one of the better tracks in this game? Absolutely not, but it's actually pretty okay. So Double Dash doesn't really have a heavy hitter in its Mushroom Cup, which is why it was kind of hard to put it all the way up at number 2, but I just couldn't deny its remarkable consistency. But it's still not number 1, because that spot goes to a much better cup in my eyes. This should surprise absolutely no one. The game with the best Nitro tracks has the best Mushroom Cup, and it really wasn't even close either. Luigi Circuit is by far the worst track here, as it's a pretty basic beginning course, but it's not bad like some people think. Sure, 2/3 of it are, but the ending with the pipe shortcut and curve with all the boost pads is pretty solid. Like I mentioned earlier, Moo Moo Meadows is the better version of Moo Moo Farm, and one big reason is cows. There's actually cows on a track with Moo in its name, and they even walk on the road. But the music is great as well, and overall it's just a chill race. So far this cup hasn't been anything spectacular, just okay really. But now we have the 2 best Mushroom Cup tracks ever back to back, starting with Mushroom Gorge. This track needs no introduction anymore. It has bouncy mushrooms, it has awesome music, it has a super fun shortcut that I still can't do consistently, but that's okay because this track is an absolute blast and is my favorite Mushroom Cup track ever. And then immediately after, we have Toad's Factory, probably the biggest snub in the Booster Course Pass. This track is the most wild Mushroom Cup course ever. Conveyor belts, boost pads, boxes, mud, even tractors. And I know I mention music a lot, but come on, this song absolutely slaps. Toad's Factory is an amazing course, and the fact that it's a Mushroom Cup course is still mind-blowing to this day, but that's a big reason why Mario Kart Wii has the best Mushroom Cup in all of Mario Kart. And that was every Mushroom Cup in Mario Kart ranked. Let me know if you enjoyed and what ranking you'd like to see next. If this one gets around 100 likes or so, then I'll do a Flower Cup ranking next. Thanks everyone for watching, make sure to subscribe for more videos, and have a great day.